As you can see, we're already laughing, so we're going to get right into it. My first guest here in the Navigant Credit Union Broadcast Center is comedian Poppy Champlin. Thank you so much for being here today.
Thank you for having me, Ava. Appreciate
Oh my goodness. Poppy is a Rhode Island native, now based in Rhode Island, but she has had the most amazing career. You've done so many different things in comedy and entertainment.
Thank you.
Really a pleasure to be able to talk to you today.
Thank you, Ava.
So I'll just, it'll take the entire segment to talk about all the different things you've done, but I'm going to touch on a few. You've had appearances on Entertainment Tonight, Comedy Central, Showtime, HBO, and Oprah. Whew. You know, a little lady named Oprah.
Yeah.
Opened for Ray Romano, Dennis Leary, Bill Maher. You have been a staff writer, tours, all kinds of things.
It's amazing.
It's amazing. Do you love
pinch myself. I'm like, have I done that? I have.
Do you like thinking about all the different things that you've been able to do in this career?
I love it when you say it all like that. It's like, wow, I am all that.
I
and
am
a bag of chips. I am.
So before we get into all this cool stuff, tell us a little bit about how you got started. What made you decide to go into comedy as a career?
Well, it's funny because when I first got here and I saw there's the arcade right there, and that's where I started. Periwinkles was the first comedy club. But I was in a show at the University of Rhode Island. I got a BFA in theater. And Oceantics was this awesome show, and I was a stand-up fish. So I did my fish stick. Help, help, is there a sturgeon in the house? You know. And it went on for like 135, yeah. So it was crazy.
Awesome.
Help, help. And I just got hooked on being a comic.
That's awesome. I always thought of stand-up comedy as like the hardest thing to do in entertainment is stand up there and make people laugh.
Yeah, it's pretty hard. I
mean, of all the things people do, singing or acting, it's kind of easy. You say someone else's words.
Yeah.
But stand-up comedy is really challenging. Did you get butterflies when you first started?
Oh my God.
Scary?
I mean, it was so hard. And back when I started, which was 82, 83, 84, and then doing periwinkles during that time, all the Guidos that were over there, hey, make me laugh, hey, hey. You know,
the hecklers.
Yeah, the hecklers was brutal. So, but you had to endure. That was the only thing. You just had to keep going. You know, I mean, I believed that I was funny.
Yeah.
I probably wasn't, but I thought I was.
Well, you know, I mean, that's sort of what it takes, right? Like, you have to convince other people, like, I'm great.
Yeah.
And if you don't believe it, what are you going to do?
Right.
So you made a move after you graduated and everything. You decided to go to Chicago first, or did you make another?
The first was, I did try New York first, which I only lasted like 2 months. It was horrendous. And when the bag lady spit on me, I'm like, that's it, I'm out of here. And and then I went to Texas, and then I went to Chicago.
Okay.
And when I got into Chicago, that's when it started clicking really.
Yeah. Did you do like some improv stuff too, or did you always stick with?
Oh yeah, no, I went through Second City.
Yeah. Okay, great.
Yeah, I did Second City, and that was the improv is pretty hard.
Yeah.
Because it's other people. Like, I can't control them.
Right. Yeah, exactly. You're working off of someone else's, like, ideas.
Yeah, and you have to agree with their ideas.
Right.
No matter what.
Yes,
it's
and.
like real, yes, exactly.
For anyone who's ever taken an improv class in your life, you know what I'm talking about.
It's yes and.
Yeah. Awesome. So eventually you made your way to LA. You're in Hollywood. All these cool opportunities started opening up for you, you know, performing the circuit and also working in like television. So tell us a little bit about your experience there and what you feel was like the thing that catapulted you into working in that industry.
Well, I thought after I won the Joan Rivers America's Funniest Real Woman on her show, which was in New York, but I knew I was a good stand-up. And then once I achieved headliner status, because you know you go opener, feature, headliner, so you're opener, middle, the third person. So when I finally got that in Chicago, I thought, well, it's time to go out to LA and get my sitcom, because so many comedians were getting sitcoms,
that's true,
right?
Yeah.
You know? And I was like, all right.
And you had a theater background too, so you.
Right. So I thought I would go, and it was really hard. Like we were talking about, the agent was the most important factor. And I didn't know that, and I had an agent for a second, this guy at William Morris, who said he was going to make me a big star, and I was like, really? This is going to be great. And so I just had to like get him to come see me at the Comedy Store.
Right.
And so after about a month, I was ready, and so I called up, and they were like, who? I'm like, Bill Bronca, and they're like, oh, he went insane. Sorry.
Oh
So,
no, that was your guy.
That was my guy. And so, but I kept trying, and that was the whole thing. And then I got into writing, and I started writing scripts, and I thought maybe I'll be a writer. And so then I got really close. I got on an interview with Mad TV. So I was going to interview with them. With Everybody Loves Raymond. I was going to maybe work for them, and there was this other one that I was going to maybe write for, and I was like, oh, that'll be great. But then this one agent said to me, at CAA, big agency.
Yeah, very big agency.
Yeah. She's like, well, it sounds like Poppy would rather have her own show. And I'm like, well, yeah. And she's like, okay, you can't be a writer. Bye.
Oh,
I'm
no.
like, I
know. It's so tricky.
It's tricky.
Yeah.
So, and then I tried to be a warm-up comic, and I got to do that on a couple of shows.
Yeah.
And that was fun.
So explain what that is for people who aren't on the inside of the industry. The warm-up comic for like different sitcoms.
Game shows, sitcoms.
Basically anything with a live studio audience.
Right. And you just keep the audience entertained, basically, between takes and to get them revved up for the show.
You don't want anyone like falling asleep. They could be long hours sometimes. You want everyone to pay attention, keep laughing.
Yeah. Like Friends, I think those shows sometimes could shoot for 7 hours.
Yeah.
So.
I know, and then they bring out the pizza to make everyone feel better.
And candy.
Right, sugar them up.
But, you know, the stand-up was really what kept me happy and kept me going. And then I started producing my own shows in West Hollywood. And that's what kept me fresh and kept me writing. And so stand-up has always been where it's been at for me, you know?
Yeah, you've had this ability to sort of reinvent yourself in other ways, but you always had that as your kind of go-to.
Yeah.
So you've worked with Rosie ODonnell quite a bit, a number of times. The most, there was you had made an appearance on Rosie's Family Vacation as a documentary on HBO.
Yeah, that was great.
So how did you get involved with that?
Well, so Rosie's show, remember when she had VH1 Stand-Up Spotlight?
Yes.
So that was her first, I think she was a VJ on that and as a stand-up. But I had worked with her at the Improv in Chicago.
Right.
And she had actually asked me to start writing for her. I'm like, oh my God, that'd be great. But I'm an idiot because you don't know these things are like huge for some reason.
Right. You don't even realize it when it happens.
And my girlfriend at the time, she was like, well, we're going to Jamaica tomorrow, so you can't really, I mean, she didn't tell me this. I was just thought it. So I was like, oh, I got to go to Jamaica. I can't write for Rosie ODonnell. And the other girl that did stay and write for her ended up touring with her for a while.
Wow.
Anyway, she liked me and I liked her. And so I called her, or I wrote her a letter. I'm like, I'm ready for my close-up. I want to be on your VH1 show. And they wrote me back and said, okay.
They were like, okay, cool, let's do it.
Yeah. So they flew me out to LA.
That is awesome.
I got a leather jacket. I got a hotel. I got a limo. I'm like, oh my God. So it was good. So that was my first foray into television. And I loved it. It was fun. But I was very scared. It's nervous being on TV. This isn't as nervous because it's just one tiny little camera.
Right. Exactly. How do you feel about Rosie's sort of reboot? She's making some.
What is she doing?
Well, she has, the Roseanne.
Rosie ODonnell is on Roseanne?
No.
Oh,
sorry.
You got your Rosies mixed
I think
up
I have my Rosies mixed up. Well, we have a couple of things to talk about, though.
Okay.
So you have a show coming up in Hartford, headlining at the Hartford Funnybone.
Yes.
So talk to us a little bit about this show, and then also you have a tour. This is in its 12th year.
Yes.
The Queer Queens of Comedy with a Q, which I love.
Right.
I missed that. I missed that detail the first time.
I'm so glad you just said comedy, though, because some people try and go Queer Queens of Comedy. I'm like, no,
no.
It's not that. But so I produce the Queer Queens of Comedy all over the country, and I never headline it myself. I always give it to another comedian to do it, and then I sort of am the ringleader, and I go on first, and a third, and then fifth, and then I close it, and I sing, and I'm like the ringleader. But this one, I've decided that I'm going to headline it, which means I'll do the full 40, just a big chunk of Poppy.
Great.
And I kind of enjoy that a lot.
Yeah.
Because you really can start, just get into it and stay in it.
Yeah.
And get them. Oh, and it's so thrilling to end up the way comedy, when they're going crazy at the end, it's just so satisfying. I don't know what it is about comedy and laughing and making people laugh. It's just so satisfying. So, and you can do it better when you have 40 minutes as opposed to a 10 here and a 15 here and a 10 and a 15.
Sort of harder to establish the rapport with the audience.
And just build it and build it.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's great. So that's in Hartford this Sunday, 4 p.m. It's a matinee.
Oh, cool.
And then I have, I don't know if you ever heard of Carol Leifer.
Yes, that sounds familiar.
Yeah, she's big. I mean, she did Carson, she did Letterman, she did Leno, she opened for Sinatra. I mean, she's been around and done some great stuff. And I have her in a tour in Ohio, Toledo, Cincinnati, and then Columbus. So I'm looking forward to those shows.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Tell us a little bit about the tour that you developed. How did you come up with this idea? I think people know of like the Kings of Comedy was a famous like thing, and this was like an offshoot that you were like, this is going to fill a missing link in this.
And I had to fight for that name too, because they're the Kings of Comedy, and then there was the Queens of Comedy. But I was like, well, the queer Queens of Comedy, I mean, you know what you're getting when you say that.
Right.
And, but I had to fight for that name. And actually, I had to pay to use that name every show after a while. But I don't know, he might have gone out of business. I don't know what. He hasn't come after me, so. But as a lesbian, and I wanted to be one of the best. And other gals were getting headlining spots and selling out some pretty good venues. So I would go to the venue and they were like, well, we don't really know your name. I'm like, well, you should, because I'm funny and I'm one of the best. And they're like, So I was like, well, how about if I bring 2 other lesbian comedians, and then we call ourselves the Queer Queens Comedy, and it's been working ever since.
Oh, that's really cool.
Yeah, because we all are really good. That's the thing. So that works. So you're getting 3 headliners for the price of 1. And, the LGBT community needs us to come into their cities and put on these shows as well, because it's a great gathering place, and it's really fun. It's really, they're great shows. So I'm really happy with
We can get information on your website.
Yep. You can go to poppychamplin.com. You can go to queerqueensofcomedy.com, but you got to spell it with a Q. And so that might be hard. Or my production company is called Poppycock Productions, so you could go to poppycockproductions.com.
Okay, cool.
So you can get
So
there.
the info is out there.
Yeah.
One other thing I wanted to make sure I talked about is you are actually offering comedy classes.
Yeah.
Here in Rhode Island, in Kingston. Tell us a little bit about this. What are you teaching? How do you get involved?
It's interesting.
Sign me up.
I'm starting to really enjoy it. At first, I was like, this is going to be so hard, because how do you teach comedy? But I find that the students that find me, that when you're ready, the teacher will come. Well, I'm ready, and now the students are coming because they're ready. They want to do it. And the thing is, with my class, I offer a show at the end, and it's just a 6-week class. And most of the people that want to take it already kind of have an idea of what they want to bring, like what they want to put forth from themselves. And so I just take it and mold it a little bit, and I sort of dramaturg a little bit, and help them with their writing, and help them with tricks for writing comedy, punchlines, tags, running gags, themes, callbacks, segues. I mean, a lot of
there's a lot of elements to comedy. When I hear other comedians talk with other comedians, there's this whole language of what you guys do that other people don't know about. Like, oh, that was great. I was at like a stand-up competition kind of thing where there were judges, and they were like, I liked your such and such. And I'm like, what is he talking about? This is like insider stuff. But you're going to teach your students what all those little techniques are.
Yeah, and they get it fast. I love it when they get it fast, and then they put on the show, and then the best part is they bring a lot of people, and I make money. Woo!
What's to lose about that? I just dropped my phone.
Yeah. So it's fun. It is fun. And that's at the Courthouse Center for the Arts, which is in Kingston, Rhode Island. And you can just go to that website, which is courthousearts.org. So, and you can find out when the next class is and when the next show is, and like that.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Well, we will have all the information available on golocalprov.com for upcoming classes,
Yeah.
your show on Sunday in Hartford, and you can keep up with Poppy and, go check her out.
Yeah, check it out, and check out A Cut Above Hair Salon in Wakefield.
I love it.
I got the plug in.
Nice. They're going to be so happy. Poppy, thank you so much for being here today.
Thank you very much for having me, Ava.
Thank you. We're going to take a very quick pause. We're going to set up for my next guest, and we'll be right back.
All right.